Let me try to do something funny here, although the audio quality won't lend anything to it. Let me try to recite certain things, because I would have really good memory when it comes to certain lines or certain, like, speeches and moments and stories, either because I've seen them so many times or just they're so memorable. Right, so the first one is, the topic is when Light Yagami calls his shot, he doesn't miss. Basically, is a little clip idea that I never got around to making, or I wanted my friend to make it. Like, he says it would be like, to Naomi Misura, I guess it's because I'm Kira, and then she dies. And then to L, he smiles, and he dies. Or even when he says it before the previous episode, I've won, exactly as planned. And one episode later, L dies. And then to Nier, he says, well, Nier, looks like I win. And then, so that sets up, like, that's the scariest moment in fiction history, because every other time Light was confident he won, he had won, right? Like, or when he asserts it, he wins. Like, so you might think, oh, he says to Nier, well, Nier looks like I win, but, oh, he's the bad guy, so he's got to lose. But he said the same thing with L, like, I've won exactly as planned, and one episode later he died. So when he says that to Nier, from the audience's perspective, he has tremendous credibility, because think about it. When Light said he won. He actually killed L. So Light doesn't say that for no good reason, especially out loud. So think about the credibility. That's where I was actually convinced, like, wait a second, this isn't some ordinary character. He said he won, and then one episode later, the world's greatest detective, his greatest rival, a series-long caliber character, dies. L dies the next episode. Right, so why wouldn't I believe that the same would be true for Nier? Right, that's a very credible, scary, iconic moment in fiction where something like that can happen. We're like, oh, is Light going to win or not? Is the bad guy, the way they're portraying it, going to win or not? But it's actually credible, because normally you'd say, oh, of course, he's going to lose. But here it's like, wait a second, he's been winning the whole show. There's no way to beat him. He's way too good. And then they throw, like, the little mellow monkey wrench. But I'll recite that. And I can come up with, like, my own little speeches here or recite certain things. But let me do the one where he's about to win in episode 36, right? And I'm not trying to imitate his voice, but sort of the delivery. Let me try it. But Nier, you did have a chance to win if only you'd taken it. You were just too naive. You're nothing compared to Al. L would have considered the possibility of a fake notebook from the very beginning, and he would have tested it. You had the chance, but you squandered it. I've got to say, I'm so disappointed in you. This victory was no fun. You tried too hard to win in a noble way. Well, that's fine. Everyone here dies today, thanks to you. And as for me, I, Kira, will have my perfect victory. Well, that, I'm just sort of sounding it out. I'm not really putting emotion into it. Right, you got to think about it from Light's perspective. But Nier, you did have a chance to win if only you'd taken it. You were just too naive. You're nothing compared to L. L would have considered the possibility of a fake notebook from the very beginning, and he would have tested it. You had the chance, but you squandered it. I've got to say, I'm so disappointed in you. This victory was no fun. You tried too hard to win in a noble way. Well, that's fine. Everyone here dies today, thanks to you. And as for me, I, Kira, will have my perfect victory. He says it like he's saying it in a smug way, but also in a validated way. Like, even, see, this is what people don't get about Light. Light's somebody who believes in meritocracy above all, so it's like, if Al's good enough to catch me, then so be it. Right, but that's where he validates himself with his own ability. So he respects Al more than anybody, because he understands, like, he might have been my rival, but I respect his ability. So that's why he says that to Nier. That iconically defines him as an absolutist character to me. Like, Nier, you're far inferior to L. You have no right to be wearing a mask of L. Which is, what he first says, and then, you're nothing compared to L. L would have considered the possibility of a fake notebook from the very beginning, and he would have tested it. You had the chance, but you squandered it. Right, so I can't quite do the emotion. Sometimes in my head, like, I can go over something, even when I'm writing it, and I can do it, but it's like you got to really get invested in what you're saying. So let me try to think of another line, like, I don't know, I don't like raising my voice too much or something, Like, this is from Network. You have meddled with the primal forces of nature, Mr. Beale. And then it goes into that. I don't remember the whole thing. You think you have stopped a business deal. That is not the case. The Arabs have taken billions of dollars out of this country, and now they must put it back. It is ebb and flow. It is ecological balance. Right? That's like a New World Order type of scene that's revealing a lot of elements. Like, that movie is a little bit out there, but it's in a good way. But because, when I'm doing this, I'm also remembering or borrowing from their performance probably, but I would be more like a low voice type of character where I'm almost or like, I don't know, some of this existential stuff where, like, you're disappointed with society and with people, right? You will, that's a good line, like Ra's al Ghul, you will never learn, where he says it to Batman in Batman Begins. It's not a very memorable line, but like the way it's said or the circumstance, like just Batman comes into the train and like Ra's is shocked. And he's like, you will never learn. Like, just to show that, like, he's facing off again. Let me try to remember some other monologues, though. My delivery is not very good. With some of these, I'm not even trying. But like I said, even when I do it in my head, if I was to go through this, it's somehow much more expressive there. So I don't know why I can't do it verbally. Like a Darth Vader. Yeah, see, like a Darth Vader type of character would be more my thing, where he's not really yelling and stuff. So let me think, what are some other iconic phrases, like, from fiction? I used to be so good at doing this, where I just remember things, like, super on the nose. Some sort of monologue from some of my favorite... Oh, yeah, here's a good one. If I can even remember, I haven't seen in a long time, Amadeus Salieri, where he's talking about imagine it, his funeral, all Vienna sitting there, and then in that silence, music. See, I'm saying it almost mockingly, though. I'm not. A divine music bursts out over them all, a great mass of death. Requiem, and he's doing a lot with his hands. Requiem Mass for Wolfgang Mozart, composed by his devoted friend, and he's meant to be mocking there, Antonio Salieri. And he does like a little sound with his mouth, like whoo, which you probably can't hear me doing it, like a little breath. Oh, what sublimity, what passion, what depth of the music. Salieri has been touched by God at last, and God forced to listen, God forced to watch. Right, because he's having this duel with God that he believes Mozart is like sort of showing him up. I really don't have like the range of emotion in doing it. Like, I'm very, I don't know, you got to get in a certain mindset. I feel like I could be good at it because I don't have like typical performative aspects normally, so they're easier to control, but like, let's think about some of my favorite movies. Sleuth. I can't think of like one big monologue by one character though. Like The Truman Show, there's not like one passage that really stands out to me. Let me think. Well, what are some other moments? Probably some from anime, some from a show. Oh yeah, let's do this one. Red John. This is a good one here. The final confrontation scene where Well, Patrick, here we are. Poor fella, smart but dumb. It never occurred to him that I am the Blake Association. Why'd you have to kill him? I'll even do Jane's line too. Everyone thinks he's Red John, don't they? So this one he says sort of almost like bored. That he's disappointed, like he's one step ahead of Jane as usual. I'm amazed you had to ask. Everyone thinks he's Red John, don't they? So it would seem a fitting end to the story if you two were found dead together. No one will look any deeper. So I'm supposed to die, am I? After all these years. It seems kind of unfair. And I can't do his little Red John voice. It's totally I can't. It's totally fair. The game's over and I won. That's the best you're going to get. It's not a game. There's a winner and a loser. That's a game. And he's saying it sort of like rough here. He's not like sophisticated. There's a winner and a loser. That's a game. He's almost bored. His voice is too deep. It's not a game I asked to play. But you played it very well nonetheless. You were fun and challenging. Thank you. He's being like very cavalier here, like just, I'm rubbing it in your face. I'm smug. It's like a person drunk on their own power at that point, but it's deserved. Like, I love that first line delivery, actually. Why'd you have to kill him? And then he sort of does this thing with his head, like he looks to the side and kind of comes back, right? Like, do I really have to explain this? Like, oh, right, I'm smarter than even Jane. Like, I'm surprised you didn't get that. Everyone thinks he's Red John, don't they? Like, duh. That's almost how he's saying it. Like, really? This shows you the difference in our intelligence right there, that, even in that moment, he does something that Jane can't explain. And I had like a walkthrough of that scene that I wanted to do a clip reaction of, like, where I'm talking shit to Jane. Like, Red John fan watches for the first time, and I try to recreate my first reaction. Like, I'll get to it in a second here, but you probably have a lot of questions for me, huh? We have time if you want. I have no questions. You're an evil, sexually perverted sociopath with pathetic delusions of grandeur. The rest is just details. Evil, sexually perverted sociopath. Well, I guess I have to own that. But, which, again, that's inconsistent with his character right there. He wouldn't own that. He just said in season 4, like, it's a higher path, Patrick, a nobler existence. And to his followers, they believe they're doing something bigger and better and something, he's like a cult leader. So why would he ever admit, I'm evil, sexually perverted sociopath? No. If anybody doesn't believe that, Red John doesn't believe that. Like, that's the whole reason why he got upset in the first place. Right, think about it. He gets mad that Jane calls him evil in the pilot, and that's why he kills his family. So he doesn't believe he's evil at all. He would never say that, and he doesn't say that, and he even contradicts that earlier, like in season 4 in the car. There is no hell. When I die, I won't be punished. This is a higher path, Patrick, a nobler existence. And the way that Rebecca talks, the way that everybody talks, they're brainwashed into a cult-like mentality. Red John would never, ever admit that, and in fact be very mad at him for saying that, like he was before. So that's a totally invalid, objectively garbage line. Evil, sexually perverted sociopath? Well, I guess I have to own that, even though I'm a cult leader who, you might think, oh, he doesn't believe his own shit, but he does. That's the point. He believes he's so above it that they should feel honored to be killed by me. It's an art. It's, they should feel lucky to be in the presence of such a genius. Like, this is how Red John thinks. Like, he's this elevated, and he is extremely smart. Not that that justifies those things, but that's almost how a person like that thinks. He's so much smarter than everybody else. He's kind of godlike in his charisma and, the way everyone's, like, fawning over him, that, Rebecca and Dumar and all, that's how they all talk. Like, they're sort of mystified by him. Like, this is no ordinary man, right? Oh, what you're saying might be right and apply to any normal human, but this is no normal human. He has this, just above quality where he's above everybody. So, yeah, he would never admit that. I guess I have to own that, but delusions of grandeur? No. I have no delusions. I built a secret empire. I controlled the lives of thousands of people. My word is life and death, and nobody knows who I am. If that's not grandeur, I don't know what you call it. He says it kind of like that, a little cavalier, right? Now, if that's not grandeur, I don't know what you call it. And I agree with him. He's actually quite right. He's done far more impressive things than you've done. He got Dumar to die, be willing to die for him. He got, Rebecca willing to do anything for him. He's got all these followers. He got Lorelai to do whatever he wants. He's gotten out of so many tight spots, And then I call it the ravings of a squalid egomaniac. But this, if what he's saying isn't valid and he's just an egomaniac, then not from a moral position, but like what he's done is very impressive, right? He's not delusional. He is incredibly impressive because this guy, look at how Jane, despite how smart he is and how much pride he has in himself, he's been run circles around. He even admitted it in season 4, like, I've given up, right? He does that whole gambit to try, I'm tricking him by pretending I'm giving up, as if you had another choice. Like, you can't catch him anyway normally, so you're not pretending that he's sort of beating you. He actually is. Like, you can't catch him. You've tried for 4 seasons conventionally, and it didn't work. So it's not that, I'm pretending to give up because I'm failing. I'm actually giving up because I can't catch him. But then, so he's validated in saying that. Red John is correct that what he's done is very impressive, and even Jane knows that and has to defer to that. You see? For no reason at all, you're rude and contemptuous. That's why your wife and kid are dead. Which, again, I find it odd at this point that he's still ragging on about that. Again, we saw him in season 2 where he's kind of making an introduction, quoting, Tiger, Tiger, burning bright, and then he talks to him again in season 4, right, and he sort of indirectly talks to him in season 3 through the stand-in, where he's trying to convince him to get, assuming he told him to do that, which he must have, trying to get him to give up, revenge is a waste of your precious time. And then in season 4, he even says, so like in none of those interactions is he bitter or upset about what Jane originally said, because that ship has sailed. He's already killed the family. Like, he's gotten over it. He doesn't care. But now he's rehashing that. Like, we've already been here. Like, it's not a necessary path to go down. Right, what they did in season 3 was much more sensible, or give us something else. Like, this is just rehashing, like, Jane said something mean about him and he's mad. Like, he wasn't worried about that anymore. He was actually enjoying having fun playing with him, right? You see? For no reason at all, you're rude and contemptuous. That's why your wife and kid are dead. Who are you to butt in here, make obnoxious judgments about me? Who are you? Who are you? He says that very well. I can't really imitate him. Who are you? Who are you? Like that. But we already know who he is. He's the guy who's, he's a nobody compared to you. He's nothing. You've run circles around him the whole story. So, like, you don't need to validate that. Right? You don't need to ask, who are you? You know that he's inferior to you. You've already said he's inferior. You've already proven and shown he's inferior. So why would you even care what he thinks? Right? Because he's the only one smart enough to even challenge you somewhat. But you validated yourself by running circles around him time and time again, so you wouldn't care. You wouldn't be so offended or bothered. He's shown himself to be inferior to you again. And then Jane says, nobody. He said that, like, very light. Nobody. And then McAllister nods his head. Nobody. You didn't know me. You don't know me. You have no idea. And then this is when he goes a little more soft-spoken. Here's your problem, Pat. You're a smart, and he calls him Pat like he's his best buddy. You're a smart man, but you are arrogant. You can't imagine someone smarter than you, which is why I've been ahead of you at every step along the way. But I find that line kind of funny too. Like, even if he did imagine someone smarter than him, that doesn't solve. That's assuming, like, so let me take Red John's advice then. Patrick Jane acknowledges that Red John is smarter than him, and because Red John's smarter, he can't catch him still, right? So whether you acknowledge he's smarter or not, you still can't catch him because he's smarter. So, like, I like how he's saying that. If you just acknowledge I was smarter, you would be able to, like, you might do certain things a little more with more humility, or you might realize the only way to beat him is to go outside the law and stuff like that. But here's your problem, Pat. You're a smart man, but you are arrogant. You can't imagine someone smarter than you, which is why I've been ahead of you at every step along the way, which he has been, and, you know, it's proven, like, throughout the whole series. Even Jane would have to acknowledge that. And you can say there's some irony to that, like, oh, well, Red John's making that mistake himself, famous last words, that, oh, he can't imagine someone smarter than him, but technically that's not really even why it happens. But here's your problem, Pat. You're a smart man, but you are arrogant. You can't imagine someone smarter than you, which is why I've been ahead of you at every step along the way. You got to kind of make the facial expression or something with it. You're holding the gun. You want to brag? Go ahead. I'm not going to stop you. There's like this subtle intonation to his voice too with Simon Baker. Like, I love these guys who do like almost a British accent or some sophisticated American accent. Like, Simon Baker is Australian, but he's doing like this weird, you know, intelligent American/British almost voice. Same thing like with Patrick Bateman, American Psycho, but he's actually, you know, European. So what the fuck? And then McAllister's nodding. You're holding the gun. You want to brag? Go ahead. I'm not going to stop you. Like, you can't stop him because, yeah, he's holding the gun for a reason, because he beat you so thoroughly in every single way after he saved your life in season 2, after he spared your life the whole show, when he could have killed you at any time in your house. It's not like a security system or something isn't going to stop him. He can kill you in your sleep the same way he killed your family with such ease. And then he saves your life in season 2. And then he saves your life in season 6, you know, season 6, episode 2 or 3, when he's on the roof, he pulls you up, and then he saves you again from the bomb in 6-6 when he could have finished you off there. And so ultimately, and then he doesn't finish you off here, he still wants to gloat. So, like, yeah, don't say that, oh, you're holding the gun. He's been holding the gun metaphorically the whole show, because he's always had the upper hand and always been smarter and better than you. So he has the right to brag and gloat, because that's the only reason why you're still alive. So you should be grateful that he wants to brag. You still don't know how I fooled you, do you? How did I survive that bomb? How did I know all the names on your list? He's written like a cartoon villain in this moment, that somewhat he's written like that, but he's written very well as a cult leader, and especially through the other characters. He's one of the greatest characters in the history of fiction from that perspective. The way the other characters talk about him and have this like sense of awe of him is really effective. Like, either just that he's so hard to catch, or that he's so, you know, evil or whatever. But like, I think about, again, Dumar, the way that Dumar talks about him with such loyalty and fervor, the way that Rebecca talks about him. There's like this, I don't remember exactly what Rebecca says, but like, yeah, he opened your eyes, right? He showed you the light. Before your family was killed, before he killed your family, you were a liar. You were living a lie. He opened your eyes to the truth of this world, right? It made you basically a better person. He showed you the light. So in a way, she's right. So that's an amazing way to look at it. Like, even Jane, who hates him the most, technically Red John made him a much better person. He was a swindler, he was a liar, he was a cheat, he was a crook. He's not as evil as Red John in that way, but he's still a bad, you know, he's doing some bad things. So he, Red John, actually made him a better person that way. See, that's the cultish mentality. And then the way that, what's that guy's name? The guy in the werewolf episode or whatever the fuck. It's, you know, there's a reason for everything I've done. It would blow your mind. Like, he's talking in some bigger idyllic way. And then Renfrew even talks about him like that. And then even, Lorelai talks about him like that. Even the girl Rosalind Harker is so enamored with him, right? And so with Lorelai, it's kind of like, even the way, oh yeah, that's a good line by Lorelai. Like, he'll kill you too if he wants to. You just can't accept the fact. Like, and that's true, as we know in the series. Like, when Jane is saying, like, he'll kill you to Lorelai, and it's like, he'll kill you too. You just can't accept the fact. Like, Red John can kill me whenever he wants because he's fucking Red John. So he'll kill you too whenever, if he wants. You just can't accept the fact. And then that's actually a cold line that deserves like an edit. He'll use you and kill you if that's what he wants. You're that under his control. He'll kill you too if he wants. You just can't accept the fact. Like, in other words, it's not up to me and my loyalty whether he's going to kill me. It's up to him because he's fucking Red John, that he can kill whoever he wants whenever he wants, except for apparently the chick. That could have been a good thing too. That Jane's actually beaten despite whatever preparation. Yeah, see, this would be like a good game theory element. Like, Jane has the pigeon, but then Red John has another gun and other preparation. And then who comes in? What's her name? I don't think she ever dies. She fakes her death kind of again or whatever. The chick, Hightower. And then she comes in and helps him. And then she gets killed. And then he's still, like, make it like that. The pigeon thing happens, and Red John's caught off guard, but then he still recovers. Then Hightower comes in and gets killed trying to deal with this, and then, like, he's wearing a bulletproof vest, so he absorbs the blow from Jane, and then does something with, kills Hightower, and then in that time, now only is Jane able to get the upper hand, and then he still has an escape plan, and then, you know, like, that, give us layers, because this is fucking Red John. This is not some ordinary character. That's at least what they do with Light Yagami. Like, there are layers to it, although I don't know what Nier's plan really was, or not so much what Nier's plan was. What did Nier think that Light's plan was? Forget about the mellow intervention. What would Nier have done? Nier would have really gone through with it and said, like, oh, I'm going to alter part of the notebook that Mikami's carrying around conspicuously and leaving unattended in the locker, right? That somehow, I guess it's the fact that Light can't communicate with Mikami and he's only doing it through Takeda, that, like, it's not, he really underestimates Mikami more than Light. Like, he respects that Light beat L and Light's really smart, but he thinks, like, well, since he's not in direct contact with Mikami, maybe Mikami's just clumsy and stupid like this, and so we're taking advantage of that, and Light can't correct him or monitor his every move, so we're taking advantage of Mikami as the weak link, which still ends up being the case, but in a little higher level sense. So now, you assume that, okay, Mikami's going to walk around and let you alter the notebook and have no clue, but Light's going to let that happen. So again, Light's plan was really just to have Mikami kill with the notebook conspicuously in public, openly, leave it where anybody can get to it, like in the locker, and then just have him show up to the meeting with the notebook and just kill everybody. Like, that's the plan. What, like, wouldn't you expect him to have more of a plan? You might not know what it is, and I guess that's the real problem, that, like, Nier would suspect what it is. That's why he was even telling Mello, you know, something, and Lindner was leaking it to Mello. It's like, and I love that idea of portraying Mello as a hero in that way. Like, Mello is a worse character than Light, actually, because, again, his means are lesser. Like, he doesn't have the notebook, so that's a defining factor. Like, what would Mello do if he had the notebook? Well, he kills innocent people for no reason, right? They're not trying to catch him necessarily, or, you know, it's not the same thing as what Light's doing in the context of trying to save the world. He just kills Nier because, oh, he's competing with Nier's people, because he's competing with Nier, so that's not a very noble intent. Light doesn't do things like that. He does it, like, if somebody's trying to catch him, he doesn't, or some major evidence that they have. Some people question, like, the Namikawa killing, like, Yotsuba and all that, but first of all, they were all criminals, number one, and second of all, they had firsthand knowledge of what had happened, so, right, so it's too risky, so that's all understandable. So I'm saying everything he does is at least within the context of that. What Mello does is purely just selfish. He's trying to get the notebook, then he uses the notebook to kill his nearest people. He's an actual criminal just for the sake of being a criminal, like a crime syndicate, you know, lord in that bunker that he's directing all the criminals. That's like, he's legitimately just an evil criminal character. He's just a bad person. He's worse than Light Yagami, because again, Light Yagami has the means of the notebook. It's like mistaking ability for morality. Mello has worse intentions than Light, right? He's emotional, he's peevish. He's doing it for, oh, I'm going to kill Nier's people, innocent people, just because I don't like Nier and I'm competing with Nier. That's not a good reason. Or he's kidnapping people, even if you want to say, oh, it's justified to catch Kira. But think about that logic. That's the same, if not worse logic than Light's using, because it's okay to do terrible things in order to catch or punish bad guys, which is exactly what Light's doing. It's okay to kill them and use the notebook if it means that, oh, you're punishing bad guys. The same way that, Mello is kidnapping people, but, it's for the greater cause of catching Kira. So that's vigilante justice in the same way, right? So Light's cause is at least more consistent. Mello just does whatever he wants. Then he kidnaps Takeda. Then he... he's just wild, but he's actually a worse character morally. Because at least with Light, I can respect his consistency. He said from episode 1, okay, I'm going to do what I have to do, and he only kills innocent people very rarely, very, very rarely. In fact, that's the whole irony of it. Mello probably kills more innocent people than Light does. Yotsuba weren't innocent, right? They were complicit in what they were doing there. Even if you want to say they're threatened, they're still guilty of a lot. Right, so, and the two people, Weddy and Iber, are also criminals. So only L arguably is innocent, even though he's definitely a criminal because of he's working with those people. He's done a lot of questionable things. He had Lyndell Taylor stand in. So, he's technically a criminal, but even if you give him a pass, what innocent people does Light kill? He kills the 12 FBI agents, that's one. Then he kills, 12 people, obviously. Then he kills... Naomi Mizura, 13, then he kills L, that's 14, that's almost it. Almost everybody else is a criminal, again, even if you count that L technically is a criminal. Those are really the main ones that I can think of. Even Misa's the one who kills, some of the cops outside the building that one time. That wasn't even Light. So everybody else he kills is a criminal, so he's consistent with his cause, and he does it only when he absolutely has to. And then he was about to kill, obviously, in episode 37, everybody who's trying to catch him. There's people who are a direct threat trying to catch him. Doesn't mean it justifies it, but it's consistent. He's not doing it for no reason. Whereas Mello kills all of the SPK members, what the fuck? That's not a good reason to do it, right? They're trying to catch Light, not you. And you're just doing it for some peevish, petty rivalry. So that's you're not doing it for I'm doing it to make the world a better place and kill criminals and reduce worldwide crime. You're not doing it for that reason. You're not even doing it, in fact, with your cause to help you catch Kira. It's going to hurt you hurt catching Kira, because now you can't work together with them. So you see, Mel is all over the place, and so his motivation is worse. So let's finish this Red John monologue, where you have... you're holding the gun. You still don't know how I fooled you, do you? How did I survive that bomb? How did I know all the names on your list? Is this what you've been missing? Appreciation? Do you want me to applaud? You have no idea, do you? He goes into a whispery tone here. You have no idea. No, I can't quite do it. You have no idea, do you? I don't know how you got the list of suspects, and we as the audience never find that out either. It was a good trick. And he nods happily. But the bomb gag was simple. There were 2 explosions. First was a concussion bomb, knocks everybody out. And that one I questioned because, how did he do that without anybody seeing it? Did he put on a gas mask? Did he... how did he brace himself to not get knocked out? Because he was being held at gunpoint, so anything he did would have been highly conspicuous. So he had it already prepared, but how did he survive the concussion? How did he not get knocked out by the concussion bomb too, as he did it without raising a red flag and doing something super obvious? I guess the fact that he died, so he might have done something that made it obvious to Jane, but then, I don't know, but... There were 2 explosions. First was a concussion bomb, knocked everybody out. Second, lethal bomb that killed Hafner and Styles. Only went off and after you dragged Bertram, Smith, and me out of harm's way. And then this he said very cockily, correct. Correct. Faking your own death was easy. So easy that you couldn't figure it out until now, or even if, you figured it out too late. So easy to do that you didn't see it coming ahead of time, right? That you allowed that scenario to play out. And how did he plant, like, whole bombs around his house? Or I guess he did that after, though. He could have set them up after. Faking your own death was easy. Brett Partridge with Lake Association. His job gave him access to the primary DNA database. And then Red John is nodding, all, like, pseudo-impressed. He switched your body with He switched your DNA with the body you had on ice, a surrogate. Then you brought the body to my house in the trunk of your car and put it alongside Stiles and Hafner. The way he says the end of that is kind of a little exaggerated, like, then you brought the body to my house in the trunk of your car and put it alongside Stiles and Hafner. Very good. Your hindsight is 20/20. And then they sort of smirk at each other. And it is hindsight, because you might think, oh, but Jane has the pigeon, but it doesn't matter, right? Like, he already had 100 opportunities to kill you. Really being ahead of it would have been when you're at the meeting, you finish him off right then and there, when you have the tattoo, right? Instead, you let him blow it up. He has to spare you there. Then Bertram was going to kill you in the hospital. Then you go and you do the thing. Lisbon saves him there because she refuses to leave his side. But whatever. And then he has to spare you again here and toy with you. So now, in this moment, very good. Your hindsight is 20/20. And then, this is the moment that triggers me. Can I show you something? Jane says. And it's like, this would be my response as a Red John fan, like, watching this. You've already shown me enough. No, you can't show me. You've shown me all I need to see. You've shown me you're no rival for me. You've already shown that you're no match for me. You've already shown that you're incompetent and completely incapable of being a challenge or threat to me. You've already shown me all I need to see. There's nothing you could possibly show me now. You've already been searched, There's nothing you could show me now. And then Red John, so overly confident. Again, also, like, these are two moments like that. What did Near think Light's plan was? Just have me show up to the meeting, that's it, for a character of that intelligence? Same thing here. What did Red John think that Jane's plan was? Show up to the church with a gun and just try to shoot him, and he gets searched, and they take the gun, and that's it? Like, whatever Jane would have had prepared, right, you would think he would have something a little more prepared than that. Like, even if it doesn't work, why would you think, oh, he's just going to show up to the church by himself with a gun and that's the plan? Like, what do you mean? So in a way, it's one of the only ways you could sort of get at Red John, because Red John's prepared for every eventuality. He would know if anybody else is there, anybody else is coming, they're out keeping watch, right? So he has to come alone. He has to come with a gun, which is he even says that too, it's just a prop. And you might think, oh, he's lying to Lisbon, but it's actually, he's not. It really is a prop, because he knew it was going to get taken, just to make it seem like he's helpless. But you would have to give Jane more credit. As smart as he is, don't you think he would have had a little more preparation? And so he lets Jane dictate the location, and then he doesn't even search it, because he would have found the other gun. Or that would have been my thing. Like, when Jane does the pigeon and Red John's knocked back, then Jane reaches for the gun and it's not there. It's not there, and then McAllister gets back up and points that gun at him now and says, looking for something? Because he would have you don't think he would have found it, dude? You don't think he would have had somebody search that when he knew that you knew the venue ahead of time? Like, who do you think you're dealing with? This is not an ordinary character. This is not some random clown. This is fucking Red John. He would have found that shit. And then, so yeah, you've already shown me all you need to see. And then breadcrumbs. this is even another funny moment that I was saying, like, I wanted to, like, act this out as if I was watching it for the first time, which obviously it wouldn't be, but this would be, like, almost my thought process. Breadcrumbs, he says as he holds them. Again, offering so many leniencies to Patrick, like, I'm going to spare you, I'm going to brag, I'm going to not kill you, I'm going to not tie you up, I'm not going to have Oscar kill you or Bertram kill you, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to do all this and then still give you another chance at the end after I've already spared your life so many times. Like, he even said it himself, the game's over and I won. You're supposed to die. It's totally fair. Like, he's already laid out that he intends to kill you. Now, when does Red John ever intend to kill somebody and miss the opportunity? Aside from Hightower, which took a lot to achieve that, and I still don't really believe that he wouldn't have caught up to her. But aside from that, when somebody's right in front of him and Red John intends to kill them, what happens? Oh, that person dies every single time, the entire show. Because... Right, when does Red John ever say, I'm going to kill you, like kill you and Bertram and you two will be found dead together? I mean, Bertram's already dead. When does that ever happen where Red John has because he's never intended to kill Jane before, he even saved Jane before. So Red John shows the intent to kill, you two will be found dead together, so I'm going to kill you and put your body with Bertram. And so whenever he has the intent to kill, he always succeeds, he never fails. Right, except, again, Hightower, extreme circumstance, but she's not right in front of him at the time. So he shows the intent to kill, and in that circumstance, you're definitely dead, you're fucked. And he also has already saved your life and given you leniency and you know, given you too many chances. And so now, and again, he's giving you a lot of chances, and the reason why that's relevant is because he shows the intent to kill. He says the game's over and I won. So he's finally showing a sense of finality and intent to kill. And yet he still doesn't do it, and he gives you another opening and another chance. Right. And that it's one thing you rely on his arrogance, but his arrogance was just to show up in the first place. Like, he didn't even have to do that. So it's really one-sided that the whole show, he doesn't kill you, whatever. But no, breadcrumbs are exactly what he's giving you the whole show. That's all he's giving you to work with, right? You've been trying to catch him with breadcrumbs the whole fucking time because he's too much of a genius to give you anything else. So that's an analogy for the whole show. Breadcrumbs are the only thing Red John ever gave you to work with. And so it's ironic that, you would try to use breadcrumbs now against him. Those are the same breadcrumbs that he gave you to work with, that that's all he gave you the whole show because he's such a genius. Breadcrumbs indeed. And then, then he shoots him, and then I have to question, like, where's the other gun? Where, that he didn't search the church, that he didn't have another gun or bulletproof vest or anything. You might think, Red John doesn't have to be packing that hard, but I mean, he should have a couple of things on him because he was kind of in a free situation. Like, yes, he just faked his own death, and that might have been difficult for him, but then he didn't have to even show up at the church or, you'd think he'd be a little better prepared because he could have had anything he wanted, right? He had time, I don't know how much time he would have had, but he could have had something. He could have had, think about how well prepared he showed up to the meeting, right? He shows up to a meeting where Jane has a clue, right? And he's confronting the suspects, but he doesn't know exactly what Jane has, and then he's prepared with a concussion bomb and a fake body and DNA body double and all that. Like, that was the big moment of realization with, a lot of the preparation went into that. Like, he shows up to a meeting where he doesn't know for sure even what's going to happen. And what does he do? He has a DNA body double, and he has a concussion bomb, and he has a smoke bomb, and he has, all these different things prepared for that. So why wouldn't you have something prepared for here that, just in general, too? Like, why wouldn't you have anything? You don't have a smoke grenade, smoke bomb. If the gun jams, I guess that's all you have. You have this one dicky pistol. Like, I know you don't think of Jane maybe as much of a threat here, but it's, and yeah, Jane's a lot better at using a gun there than you would think, too. Like, McAllister's a hunter, so he has experience this way. Jane doesn't do that kind of thing. Right, so he's at a disadvantage that way, at least, with respect to, So, yeah, I have to question, like, why didn't he have another gun? Or something along those lines, because why didn't he have another gun? Why didn't he have any kind of preparation? Why didn't he search the church? Why is he leaving his DNA fingerprints all over the place, even if it's the DNA of the switch body double? He's touching, like, the scaffolding and different parts of the church, not wearing gloves, not wearing the costume, not prepared in any way, not for any contingency. Again, not even just Jane, but, like, then you have Oscar watching outside. Then you have, you would have had some escape plan. So when he's running away and the nun or whatever distracts him, which is kind of a cliche cartoon thing, like, the whole scene is written cartoonishly, the way I was saying. Like, he's just saying evil things to make him sound bad. Like, oh, I guess I have to own that, or that's why your wife and kid are dead. Like, let's rub it in his face and make him seem as evil as possible. Things that don't need to be said, that have been dealt with a long time ago, and he was already happy, It seemed like they were over that phase. They were in the fun games playing phase. Why do you got to go and revisit something that's already clear? Like, we get that he killed the wife and kids. We get that that's the whole reason for revenge. We get that, like, you don't have to rehash that again. Give us something fresh. Right, like maybe he tries to convert him again, like in season 4. As you well know, there is no hell. Well, what if you did have a change of heart? What if you and I became friends? Like, give us something like that, where he's talking like a cult leader, and he's actually convincing in a way because he's so smart, right? Go to hell, but he won't even let you have that little cheap insult, right? That doesn't work on a character, a person of Red John's caliber. As you well know, there is no hell. And, of course, we all know that Jane doesn't believe in God either. Jane doesn't believe in God, so he, in a sense, would agree with that. Like, there is no hell, so I know that to be true. But it was just the best weak sort of thing I could come up with to try to counter Red John, even though, and then, the final point is the fact that, this cartoonish nun moment, and then so you'd have a nun prepared, but no other gun. You have a nun, but not the gun, right? Red John should have... There's some little song joke like that, too. Like, somebody should have had a gun, like where the guy's singing it in that React channel. I don't know what it's a reference to. So Red John should have had a gun. So he doesn't have any preparation there. He evidently doesn't have, like, a vehicle or escape plan that way because nobody else has arrived because the timetable was fine like that. So now he gets out of there, but, like, where's his car that he came in? Where was his escape plan in case the cops showed up or anything else showed up? He would have had some escape plan planned out. When would Red John ever be so unprepared as to just have to run on foot away? He would grab the keys from Oscar's body to the car that he drove there in, or whatever, and then use the car and get away like that, right? Why has he got to run on foot? What does Jane do to make that? So when the nun comes and does that, Red John's in the car and he's gone. He's escaped. Like, how did he get there? Where's the car? Why wouldn't he have that as an escape plan? Again, in case the cops show up, in case anything else happens too. Never mind Jane. What was his escape plan normally? Just to run on foot. The fact that he's been shot and the fact that Oscar's dead, it doesn't matter because Jane's struggling with the nun, and it's like, what does that mean? Like, what, in that much time, Red John's gone, or he'd lose him in the crowd, or he'd do a million different things. He'd have a ton of tricks up his sleeve. You might think, oh, you're romanticizing the guy too much, but that's the same problem with the writing. Is like, you build him up as this like unstoppable villain for 6 seasons, and it's like, you milk him for 6 seasons as like the supervillain mastermind, and then all of a sudden when you want to get rid of him, you say, well, he's just an ordinary person, he's not that special, but you're the one who made him out to be special, so don't milk him for 6 seasons and then say, oh, he's just an ordinary guy. He's obviously a mastermind, and that's fine, but then you got to give him a mastermind's defeat. It's ironic that the ending of that is so bad that it makes me almost defend or appreciate Death Note a little bit, because at least Death Note has a game theory explanation. It might not make a whole lot of sense, and it has a lot of holes in it. Like, why couldn't Mikami just have a page hidden somewhere else, or use the page, or this was always my idea, make a real notebook with pages from the fake notebook, but then they don't want them to touch it so they can see the Shinigami or test it or whatever. But at least they game theory qualify by saying, how could Light possibly lose to Nier, right? Like, every character is a piece on the board. So Light was good enough to be L, so how could he not be Nier? But, it's because Nier and Mello were working together, right? So I can accept that, actually. The teamwork I can accept. The exact plan and everything like that I don't agree with. But the other thing is, like, there is no game theory explanation. Jane over the course of 6 seasons could not beat Red John. He was not capable of doing it. And now all of a sudden he just magically does. Why? Because Red John has to be extra super cocky and just give him too many chances. You might say, oh, it's because somebody's always helping Red John or something, but there's a game theory equivalency there. Like, Jane has the CBI and Lisbon and the team, and the cops are on his side, and Red John creates his own infrastructure, which is to his credit, and this cult-like following. So that's all to his credit, but it's supposed to be equal. They both have the resource to work with, but it comes down to their own ability, and so it's like, I don't think you would discredit that. But even in that moment, he has Bertram there, he has Oscar there, he has everything he needs preparation-wise. He has this dude, like, he had all the time to prepare in the world that he could have done whatever he wanted.